Hi everyone, it's Nin, and here's another Healthy with Nin wellness tip. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about hormones, and specifically female reproductive hormones like estrogen dominance, which can occur a lot of the time, and we have no idea. And that's because we go to our doctors and they say, oh, estrogen looks normal, progesterone looks normal, and we clearly know that's not the case. So estrogen dominance can happen when our progesterone levels are too low in ratio to estrogen. And that's just something they don't look at. Everything's in isolation, not in ratio to each other. And that's how our body works. Everything has a pair, everything has a balance. So we'll know we have estrogen dominance when we start to gain some weight around our midsections and our hips and our thighs and our butt. That's where women like to gain that hormonal weight. So there's definitely things that you can do about that. And I always like to start with food. We just had Mother's Day not a couple weeks ago as well. And I talked a little bit about seed cycling then. And seed cycling is great, especially when you're trying to get your cycle back up and running as a new mom or at any time in our life. So seed cycling works because the seeds we cycle, which are our sunflower seeds, our pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and also sesame seeds, help regulate progesterone intake and also decrease estrogen production. So it just kind of brings these back into balance a little bit, which is great. We just want them in a good ratio. And you can look more on my social posts for how exactly to seed cycle. And then another thing we can do food-wise is eat our cruciferous, say that 10 times fast, veggies. So our broccoli, our Brussels sprouts, our cauliflower, and cabbage, all of the above, sauerkraut. What those contain, besides sulforaphane, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is super beneficial from an anti-inflammatory standpoint, they also contain something called DIM. You might have heard of this. DIM helps our estrogen metabolism and helps regulate that. So if you are in estrogen dominance, that's something that you can definitely get from cruciferous vegetables that will help. You can also supplement with DIM, and I can put a link in the email for that as well. And let's say you're postmenopausal, estrogen levels are low. So there are herbs that have been around for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, that really help boost our estrogen, and that's things like sage, that's things like red clover. So if you want to know more about that, whether you're perimenopausal or menopausal, postmenopausal, you can definitely set up a consultation with me, and we can go over some things you're experiencing, and I can help walk you through like what might be a protocol or a plan to help address that. Ashwagandha. So let's talk about this a little bit. When our progesterone's low, it's usually because we have high cortisol output. We're always in a fight or flight state these days, and our body's constantly thinking, there's a tiger in the room. So when we need extra cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine, well, the precursor to that is progesterone. And so we rob ourselves of that in order to go into that fight or flight state. And our bodies aren't messing up. It's just trying to protect ourselves. Why would we want healthy reproductive systems going when we need to constantly be running from the saber-toothed tiger? So something that helps with that is ashwagandha, and I take this every day. And it helps regulate stress, even things out a bit, kind of calm you down. I take it lunch and at dinner. If you have questions about that, let me know as well. But it's amazing adaptogenic herb. And then sleep. Our diurnal rhythm is key when we want to manage cortisol. Cortisol should be highest in the morning and should dip down at night and be at its lowest point around 9 or 10 o'clock at night when we're going to bed. So just making sure you're waking up and going to bed within 30 minutes of the same time each and every day is just going to help with that diurnal rhythm. And naturally that will help with the melatonin production, which is the opposite of cortisol. They are a pair and they need to be in different ratios to each other, morning and night. So anyway, hopefully these were helpful tips. I'll put some of the links I described in this email, and let me know if you have any questions.